Okay, so this is the last part for this topic here. And for this last part, we are going to look at the properties of ionic compounds. Okay, properties, that means its characteristics, what does it look like, how does it behave, so ciri-cirinya. And then these are the lesson objectives. There are two, and we're going to start right now. Okay, so remember last time, if you want to make an ionic compound, you need to have a positively charged ion, which is this one here, a cation, and a negatively charged ion, which is an anion. If they are joined together, they form an ionic compound. One thing you need to note is that usually metals, elements that are metals, will form positively charged ion. So for example, sodium will become sodium plus ion, calcium becomes calcium 2 plus, and magnesium becomes magnesium 2 plus. So metal ni selalunya akan jadi positively charged ion. And non-metal, anything that's non-metal like oxygen, will become a negatively charged ion. So for example, oxygen becomes 2 minus, chlorine becomes minus. Okay, so ionic compound is basically a metal joined together with a non-metal. So usually a non-metal and a metal and a non-metal will form an ionic compound. Here are some examples of ionic compounds in daily life. So you have sodium chloride, which is stable salt. You have sodium bicarbonate, which is inside baking soda. And you have sodium hydroxide, which we use as cleaning liquids. You have magnesium sulfate, which is in Epsom salt. And then sodium hypochlorite, which is in bleach. And if you look at the compounds, they are usually made from one metal and one non-metal. So this is the metal, this is the non-metal, this is the metal, this is the non-metal, this is the metal, non-metal, metal, and non-metal. So you get the idea. If a metal and non-metal joins together, they usually become an ionic compound. These are the properties of ionic compounds. They have high melting point, so they only melt at very high temperatures. For example, like 3000 degrees Celsius, sudahnya panas, baru tah ia akan melt. And high boiling point, so again, only when it is at high temperatures, baru tah ia boil jadi vapor. Ionic compounds are not very volatile, so that means it doesn't evaporate easily. They do not conduct electricity when solid. So if it's a solid like this one, it will not conduct electricity. It can only conduct electricity when melted or molten or when dissolved in water. Kalau sekiranya dimasukkan dalam air ataupun ia cair sudah, baru tak ia dapat conduct electricity. Baru tak ada current boleh flow inside the substance. It is soluble in water. That means it can dissolve in water. Kalau kamu masukkan dalam air, so like this one or this one, you can dissolve in air, masukkan dalam air, kacau, and then it will disappear. It will become one with the water. But it is insoluble in organic solvents. So if you put this in organic liquids like acetone and ethanol, it cannot dissolve. It will stay there. These are the properties of ionic compounds. Okay, so to summarize, an ionic compound is formed when a metal, usually this metal, and metals become cation, positive electron, so this one here, forms a bond with non-metal, which is the anion, by transferring electrons, and they are held together by strong electrostatic force of attraction.